Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to the channel. College football week 2 is here, and I have a ton of picks to go ahead and share with you guys. But first, people, please make sure to hit that subscribe button, hit that like button, and drop a comment down below. It helps the channel grow, and it really does mean a ton to us. I do want to start off by apologizing, guys, for no video last week. I know week 1, I fumbled the bag there, not having a video out. Unfortunately, my computer shit the bed, and I had some health problems in my family. So not to make excuses, but I'm going to go ahead and make some excuses to why there was no video last week. I did actually record a video, but unfortunately, again, my computer shit the bed and corrupted the file. I did hand out a couple of picks, though, in a YouTube post. So before we dive into today's video, I do want to recap those picks very quickly. And overall, guys, a much better week than we had in week 0. We went 3-1 last week, up 1.97 units. We had the Oklahoma spread, we had the Oklahoma team total over, and Stanford plus 9.5. All three of those picks hit. We had one player prop that lost in the Oklahoma game. But again, 3-1 overall last week. Real big improvement for what was a disastrous week 0. But I think everybody had a bit of a disastrous week 0. Florida State stays hurting people so far this year. But overall, you see so far this year, 3-4 record. We've only given out 7 picks so far. That's going to change after today. I have 13 picks to go ahead and share with you guys in today's video. I was feeling really good last week, guys. I'm feeling even better going into this week. Let's have a fantastic week 2 slate. One last thing, though, guys, before we dive into the 13 picks I have for today's video, I do want to talk to you guys about a quick offer that we have with our partners, DraftKings. That's right, guys. Guy Boston Sports and DraftKings are officially partners. And when you go ahead and use that link down below in the description and bet $5, you get instantly $250 in bonus bets. That's right. It's simple, guys. Bet $5, you get $250 instantly in bonus bets when you use that DraftKings link down below. But they don't stop there. Along with that offer, DraftKings is also giving Guy Boston Sports users a free 1-month subscription to NFL Plus. So, guys, you really can't beat that offer. You bet $5 if you're a first-time customer. You can get up to $250 instantly in bonus bets. And, again, you get 1 month of NFL Plus for free. You just can't beat it, guys. You're getting free money and free service there with NFL Plus. And all you got to do is use our link down below. Special thank you to DraftKings for partnering with Guy Boston Sports. All right, guys, so like I said, we have 13 picks in today's video and no time to waste. So we're jumping right into the outlier screen and diving right into the picks. Our first of 13 picks, guys, is the only pick I'm giving in the Friday games because let's be honest, the Friday games this week, they kind of suck. We're going with the Duke Northwestern game, which is a 9 p.m. kickoff on Friday night. We're going with the under here, 37.5. Again, guys, always shop around for the best sportsbook odds available. For this pick on BetMGM, we're finding it for -115. Also available on DraftKings, FanDuel, and Bet365 for varying odds. Look, guys, I'm not going to spend too much time on this pick because this game really is not going to be a lot of fun, but I do think there's value here in this under at 37.5 points. Look, these are two offenses that are just not very good, but both teams very good defensively. Now, if you go and look at the right side of the screen here, this is obviously based off of last season rankings, so take it with a grain of salt, but these were two top 40 defenses in college football. But when you go ahead and switch things over to the offensive side of things, it gets a lot worse. You see Northwestern were outside the top 100, and although Duke was a top 70 team, they did have Riley Leonard, the current Notre Dame Fighting Irish. Shout out my Irish. Big win last week. The current Notre Dame quarterback, Riley Leonard, was there last year for the first couple games of the season, which obviously helped their numbers out a little bit there. But even still, that's not even a top 50 offense in the nation. These are two teams that offensively are not that good. And it kind of is the same thing this year. Duke offensively, I think, has a higher ceiling than Northwestern. I do like Duke's quarterback in Malik Murphy, who they got over from Texas in the transfer portal. I don't hate him. I mean, I shouldn't hate him. I have no personal reason to hate him. But I don't mind him, I should say, as a quarterback. I do think his ceiling is higher than what Northwestern currently is dealing with here. But overall, still, I just don't like either of these offenses. And again, Northwestern's defense, really fantastic again this year. Even a little bit better than Duke's defense, which is really good. Two great defenses, two bad offenses. That's a recipe for an under there. You see the insights down below provided by Outlier. The under has hit. Actually, I'll go ahead and scroll up to show. Maybe I think up here you might get a little bit of a better look at that insight right here. Yep. The insights provided by Outlier. The under hit in 5 of the Northwestern Wildcats' last 5 games versus top 25 scoring defenses. So, again, we're going off of metrics from last season, but Duke's defense seems to be pretty good this year. But even they struggled versus Elon last week. So, like I said, I was going to take Northwestern here because their defense is really good, but I don't want to touch a side. I don't want to touch a spread here. play it safe and go with the under. I am seemingly not alone in this thought process. You look at the right side of the screen here for this game. 58% of all tickets are on the over, but 80% of all the money is on the under. Guys, if you're new to betting, public betting information is very important to go ahead and take a look at here. Just 42% of the betting tickets are on the under, but yet 80% of the money is on the under. What does that tell you? What it tells you is that the bigger bettors, the professional bettors, the sharp bettors, the wise guys, they're all betting on the under. There's the rest of the public is on this under. Again, the majority of the tickets are on the over, but the majority of the money is on the under. That means that a lot of the bigger bets are being placed on the under. The guys who are wagering more, who have a lot more losing this stuff, they're placing it on the under. It's a pretty smart pick. All right, guys, moving on. The second pick of today's slate. This is the game of the weekend. One of the best games, I think, maybe of the whole year we're expecting it to be. We have Texas at Michigan Saturday at noon. And look, guys, this might surprise some people, but I'm taking Michigan here, plus 7.5. Look, I think this value is fantastic for Michigan. If you're betting with Caesars, you get it from minus 110. It's available on FanDuel, BetMGM, Bet365, and DraftKings for varying odds. Again, like I said, guys, bounce around, shop for the best sportsbook odds available. I just think 7.5 points is far too much for Michigan. Look, I understand that Michigan, they're still kind of learning their way in the post-Harbaugh era, but this is still a really good football team. Yes, they didn't play fantastic against Fresno State, but I think people are sleeping on Fresno State. They're actually a little bit better than I think people give them credit for. And yes, Michigan didn't cover the spread, but they still won the game by 20 points. I know late pick 6 kind of skewed the numbers a little bit to make it look like it was a better win than it was. But Fresno State was not a bad team. They're not a terrible team. So, it was a pretty decent matchup there. And I still think Michigan took care of business. Again, it's going to take some time. They do have some issues with the quarterback position, kind of trying to figure out who's going to succeed J.J. McCarthy as this team's starter. Look, I don't even think they're going to win this football game. I do think the Longhorns will come through and win on the road. I just think 7.5 is too many points. I think this game is going to be close. It's going to be tight. It's not going to be a super high scoring affair. Spoiler alert for the pick coming up next. I just think that Michigan here at 7.5 points, if this is any higher, and if this line goes up, guys, if it's at 6.5, don't take it. I'm taking it only because it's at 7.5. I don't see Texas winning this game by more than 7 points. Michigan's style of play does not allow them to lose by a lot. They play very slow. Their pace of play, it's over 30 seconds per play. They're actually playing, based off the first game versus Fresno State, they're actually playing slower than they were last year, which is one of the slowest rates in the college football league, or nation, I should say. Sorry. Bouncing in between college and NFL, doing a lot of videos this week, guys, so bear with me there. But their pace of play is extremely slow, and you look at their strengths, they love to run the football. That is Michigan's MO. They obviously have Donovan Edwards back from last year's championship team. They have a decent offensive line. That was even their MO last year with J.J. McCarthy was to run the football. And although I do think Texas will win this game, I think it's going to be very close, and Michigan does have a chance to win. I still would take Texas on the money line, but obviously there's no value in that. But I do think that Texas will come away with a win, but I think it's like a field goal game, honestly. This is not a particularly great matchup for the Longhorns on the road at Michigan. Not exactly an easy place not an easy place to play. Excuse me. Had a brain fart there. Look at Michigan, their style of their offense, right? They're run heavy. What did Texas just lose? Both of their nose tackles, Devondre Sweat and Byron Murphy, both gone to the NFL. So Texas defense could struggle there. Michigan could find a way to run the football on this Texas defense. And on the flip side, I know everybody's high on Quinn Ewers, as they should be. He's a really good quarterback, but this is not a great matchup versus Michigan defense. They can stop the run. A very good run defense here at Michigan. And you also have the fact that Texas lost their running back, C.J. Baxter, to injury. I think Texas is going to really struggle to run the football, and Quinn Ewers is most successful when he plays out of play action. The majority of his touchdowns last year for Texas came out of play action. Play action is where it's his bread and butter. It's where his numbers look the best. Outside of play action, he's still decent, but not nearly as good as he is in play action. And what do you need for play action to work? You need a solid running game. What will Texas, I think, struggle in this game with? Establishing the run. So yeah, 7.5 points feels like way too much. And again, you're getting it from minus 110 or minus 115, minus 120, depending where you're getting it, which sportsbook you're using. I think it's really solid value. Again, if it's anything low, if it's 6.5, 6, even at 7, take it at 7.5 and 7.5 only, or unless it goes to like 8 or something. One last piece on this too, guys, is the fact that the line movement is kind of crazy. It makes me think that Michigan is a lock here at 7.5. This line opened at like 3.5, and it's been drastically moving, meaning people are hammering Texas. It's just far too many points. The books are giving it to you. Take Michigan at plus 7.5. And pairing with that pick, guys, I'm going to go ahead and take the under in this game, 42.5, available on FanDuel for minus 110. Caesars, BetMGM, Bet365, and DraftKings again, all varying odds. But the best odds available for this one are on FanDuel for -110. Again, the under 42.5. Again, the pace of play, everything I've just talked about, I don't think this is going to be a high-scoring firework game. It's going to be a methodical, defensive showdown between two powerhouses of college football. And again, we look at the public betting information. The public betting tends to agree with what we're saying here. 74% of all bets are on the over. However, 51% of all money is on the under. Only 26% of all tickets are on the under right now, but yet 51% of the money is on the under. The bigger bettors are putting their money on the under here. Now, it's not as crazy as the last pick, as the under in the Northwestern Duke game, but it still seems like this is a really solid pick. All right, guys, moving right along here. Getting so tongue twisted here. It's just the excitement, guys. College football is back. It feels great. We had a great first week of college football. My brain just moving faster than my mouth can. What can I say? But our fourth pick from today's slate, we're looking at the Georgia Tech-Syracuse game. Again, 12 p.m. kickoff on Saturday. We're going with Georgia Tech here, -2.5. We get that on DraftKings, the best odds available there for -115. Also available on Caesars and Bet365 for the same odds. And look, guys, there's just no other way to say it. Georgia Tech is having a fantastic start to the year. Obviously, they had that massive upset of Florida State in week 0, although Boston College kind of did the same thing. So is Georgia Tech really that good, or is Florida State just that bad? It's a little bit of both, I think. But then Georgia Tech followed that up with a good week 1 win as well. So a nice 2-0 start for the year. Georgia Tech is ranked as of now on the road against a Syracuse team that just doesn't impress me. And the public betting data, again, you're going to hear me reference the public betting data a lot in these videos. It kind of reiterates what I'm saying here. You look at the public betting, 71% of all tickets are on the Georgia Tech money line, 81% of the money. That means the public and the sharp bettors and the professionals, they are all aligned on this pick. The same thing for the spread. 79% of all tickets are on Georgia Tech -2.5. 82% of all the money on Georgia Tech -2.5. So sharps, public, everybody alike is together on this pick. I'll be honest, it is a fairly even matchup. There's a reason it's only a 2.5 point spread here. I just think Georgia Tech's in great form. They're playing fantastic to start the year off. Not to say that Syracuse isn't, but I'm betting on Haynes King and the Yellow Jackets here to pull through -2.5. All right, guys, moving on. Our fifth pick of today's slate, we're looking at the Cal-Auburn game, 3:30 p.m. kickoff. We're going Auburn here, -13.5 points, getting that from -105 odds there on FanDuel. The insights provided by Outlier. The Golden Bears, the Cal Golden Bears, are just 4-8 against the spread in their last 12 games, just a 33.3% hit rate. So a pretty good data point there to look at for this prop. And Auburn off to a really good start to the year. They had a massive 73-3 win in week 1. Another insight provided by Outlier. If you look at the right side of the screen here, the California Golden Bears are 1-6, just a 14.3% hit rate in their last 7 games as an underdog. Obviously, Auburn heavy favorites in this game. We know Cal's probably going to lose this one. The question at hand here is, can Auburn cover what is essentially a 2-touchdown spread? And my answer is yes, especially at home in this environment. I just think that Cal's going to have a hard time. Now, we do have some head-to-head data to go off of here. The last time that these two teams played, which was last season, it was very close. Auburn did win the game 14-10 on the road at Cal, but that was last year. It's a new year, and now you're in Auburn. Auburn's a very tough place to play at. I just like this point total here. I think Auburn rolls them here. All right, guys, our sixth pick of today's slate, we're looking at the Iowa State-Iowa game, 3:30 p.m. kickoff. We're going Iowa -2.5. That's right, we're going with Iowa -2.5 here, available for -115 on Bet365. That's the best odds available for this pick. Now, these teams do actually have quite a bit of head-to-head data. They played 5 times in the last 7 years, and Iowa has won 4 of those 5 meetings versus Iowa State. So really solid head-to-head data there, including last season. You do see the University of Iowa. They beat Iowa State 20-13 last season on the road at Iowa State. This year, obviously, it's at Iowa. This is going to be a slugfest. I just think Iowa is too good defensively to lose to Iowa State, especially at home. Iowa's off to a pretty good start to the year. New quarterback in Cade McNamara. I do think the addition of him should make the offense slightly better. Again, I don't think this is going to be a good offensive team. You look at the ranks last year, this is one of the worst offensive teams in college football. They ranked 132nd, just 15.4 points per game last year. I do think they're going to be a lot better. There's not, I don't think they're going to be top 50 in the nation or anything like that, but they should be significantly better than what they were a year ago. And then you go ahead, you look at the difference here on defense. Again, Iowa, the 4th best scoring defense in college football last year, and Iowa State's offense tied for 72nd in college football. So not a very prolific offense to begin with, but match up with this Iowa defense, it's just not a good matchup there for Iowa State. With that elite defense and a hopefully slightly improved offense, I think Iowa should be able to pull ahead here with the 3 point spread. And again, piggybacking off of that, like I did for the Longhorns Wolverines game, the Michigan-Texas game, I'm going to go ahead and take the under in this game as well. And again, the public betting is on my side here. You look at the bets, 83% of all bets are on Iowa and 97% of the money. Again, the public and the sharps are aligned here on this pick. But even look at the spread here, 67% of all bets are on Iowa, but 50-50 on the money. So you do actually see some sharp bettors are starting to lean a little bit towards Iowa State on the spread, but everyone agrees Iowa will win this game. I think if they're going to win the game, they should win the game by at least a field goal. And like I said, guys, piggybacking off of that, my 7th pick is the under here, 35.5. I'm not going to go ahead and explain it because I just talked about it, but these are two teams that should be a slugfest. Iowa offensively, not all that great. Again, I do think they're slightly improved over the last year, but Iowa State's defense, not a slouch either. They were top 50 in the nation last year in terms of scoring defense. They were top 50 in a lot of categories last year. I wouldn't call Iowa State an elite defense, but they're solid. And especially matched up with an offense like Iowa, they should be able to hold them down. And then, again, vice versa. Iowa State's offense, not all that impressive. Iowa, one of the best defensive teams in the nation. It feels like they always are. I think the under 35.5 is a pretty solid prop. Last year, when they played, it was 20-13, which is a total of 33. So even the most recent meeting with them, the under cashed there. So I think the under 35.5, although a pretty low total for a college football game, it looks like a pretty safe bet here. All right, guys, we are more than halfway done here. Our 8th pick in today's slate. We're moving on to the Eastern Michigan-Washington game. Again, 3:30 p.m. kickoff. We're going with Washington here, minus 24.5. Going to get that from minus 110 there on DraftKings. And listen, guys, this one's very easy to me, I think. I think Washington just leaps and bounds better than Eastern Michigan. At home, they should absolutely roll Eastern Michigan here. 24.5 points. It may scare some people. It looks like a high spread. I think Washington absolutely crushes them. And look, there's not a lot of data to go off of because there's a lot of change with this team. They no longer have Kalen DeBoer as their head coach. Obviously, Michael Penix, all those guys, a lot of the key pieces from that Washington team are no longer there. This Eastern Michigan team last year wasn't even top 100 in the nation in scoring. I just don't see them scoring a ton of points. I think Washington's offense should be able to score on a defense that wasn't even top 50. They were top 70, so not a terrible defense, but not a good one either. So I think Washington absolutely rolls here. All right, guys, before I dive into my 9th pick, I do want to do a quick little contest giveaway. I was going to do last week for week 1. Unfortunately, again, the video didn't come out. So we're going to do a little giveaway here today. All you have to do is comment CFB College Football, and you will be entered for a chance to win a free $10 Amazon gift card. That's why all you have to do is comment CFB down below in the comments, and one lucky commenter will be selected for a free $10 Amazon gift card. Way to do that a little later in the video just to see who's watching all the way through. Again, I always appreciate you guys who do watch all the way through these videos. Our 9th pick in today's slate, we're looking at the NIL, the Northern Illinois Notre Dame game, 3:30 p.m. kickoff. My Notre Dame Fighting Irish coming off their massive win over Texas A&M on the road. And surprisingly enough, I'm going with Northern Illinois here, plus 28.5 on the spread. We're going to get for minus 110 there on BetMGM. And look, Notre Dame's going to win this game. I hope they win this game. If they lose this game, I don't know what I'll do. But they should win this game. I just think this is a really easy letdown spot for Notre Dame. It's a tale as old as time. College football team wins a massive game. They beat a tough opponent. You know, they come now, especially the home opener, right? They come home playing a weakling little team like Northern Illinois, and everyone's betting. The whole nation is betting the spread here because Notre Dame just beat A&M on the road. They're now ranked number 5 in the country. They're kind of the media darling this week after that win against Texas A&M. You know, everybody's high on Notre Dame. This is a very easy letdown spot. Again, I think Notre Dame clearly wins this game. I just think covering that 28.5 point spread is probably not going to happen. And the market seems to be telling us that, guys, because this line is dropping. It was as high as 30.5. It was 29.5 this morning. Now it's at 28.5 at the time of recording. So it's starting to drop, which tells me people are betting Northern Illinois. So the books are starting to adjust a little bit now. And don't believe me, the betting market is telling the story. The spread right now, only 29% of all tickets are currently on Northern Illinois, but 52% of the money is on Northern Illinois spread. So that goes ahead and tells you that, yes, the majority of the public, 71% of all tickets are on Notre Dame, yet more than half of the money is on Northern Illinois. And then look at the money line, 97% of the money line is on Northern Illinois. Again, that you can ignore in a situation like this because the money line of Notre Dame is so high. First of all, nobody's betting this bet. And if they are, they're only betting Northern Illinois because there makes no sense to bet Notre Dame here. I don't even know what the total is for what the money line is, but it's got to be like minus 3,000 or something like that. So ignore that here, but the spread data is relevant. Again, I think Notre Dame rolls. I think they win. I think they win big. I just don't see them winning by 30 plus. I think it's a little bit of a letdown spot here. So I'll go ahead and take Northern Illinois against my Fighting Irish plus 28.5. All right, guys, just a few picks left here. Our 10th pick in today's slate. We're looking at the USF-Alabama game, 7 p.m. kickoff. We're going Bama here, minus 29.5 points, available on BetMGM for minus 110. Those are the best odds available for this pick. And again, no Nick Saban, no problem. They bring in Kalen DeBoer, who's a great coach, and it's just kind of business as usual for Alabama. Maybe they're not as guaranteed for greatness as they were under Saban. Maybe they're not as expected for greatness as they were under Saban, but I still think Alabama is Alabama. Kalen DeBoer was a great successor for Nick Saban, and they started the season off really well, just dominating Western Kentucky again. Can't take too much away from that game because it is Western Kentucky, but 63-0 in week 1. The insights provided by Outlier, the Alabama Crimson Tide are 9-3 against the spread in their last 12 games dating back to last season. That's a 75% hit rate. And look at the matchup. They did face off with USF last year. If you kind of remember that game, Alabama was heavy favorites, 34-point spread in that game as well. And it was kind of super disappointing. Remember that early half of that year with Alabama where, they lost a couple games and then they were not covering spreads and they were struggling with some of these lower ranked teams. And USF was one of those games. They won 17-3, but it was a massive disappointment because Bama was a 34-point favorite in that game. I think this game's a little bit of a measure of revenge, especially for Jalen Milroe. Remember, that was kind of a stressful thing for them last year playing USF. It looked like for a while USF could possibly win that game versus Bama. It was a tight game the entire time. I think Alabama here, again, how much is that relevant to this year's game? Who knows? I think it's pretty relevant. I think Alabama is going to look to go ahead and crush USF, and they should. They are the much better team. They were the better team last year, but last year they had some issues to figure out. Jalen Milroe looks like a much improved quarterback this year. This team is still one of the best in the nation. They should absolutely roll USF here, especially in Tuscaloosa. All right, guys, our 11th pick of today's slate. We're targeting the Colorado-Nebraska game, 7:30 p.m. kickoff. And, yeah, you're never supposed to take that 7.5-point pick, but I'm going to go ahead and take the hook here. Give me Nebraska minus 7.5. We're getting that for minus 102 or minus 104 on FanDuel, also available on DraftKings for minus 105. Close to even odds here on this pick. Plain and simple, guys, I do not believe in Colorado. I feel like this is the same team we saw last year. They still have the offensive line struggles. Shedeur Sanders is great and Travis Hunter is great, and they have a couple of really exciting players. But this feels like the same Colorado team from last year. Now, look, maybe they come into this game and they beat Nebraska on the road and they prove us wrong and wait a second, Colorado, maybe they are as good as people say they are. But who watched that North Dakota State game and was impressed with what Colorado did? They won by 5 points, and they struggled versus an FCS school. This just continues to be the trend with Colorado. They beat these lower-ranked teams, and we're supposed to go crazy, but then they play somebody of equal strength or better, and they struggle. I just think Nebraska, they're probably on the same playing field as Colorado. They're 7.5-point favorites for a reason here. I'm just not buying the Colorado hype. I did like it. It was a fun story last year. But the reality is this team's just not that good overall. And the Travis Hunter thing, the way that Deion Sanders continues to use Travis Hunter, it's going to get him hurt. I don't think it's going to end up working out for this team. Again, I don't like the 7.5-point spread. I wish it was a little bit lower. I think if this was 6.5, I would absolutely love the line. I think Matt Rule's done a really good job of rebuilding this Nebraska Cornhuskers program. Don't get me wrong, they're not returned to their former glory, but they're getting there. They're getting closer. They're getting better under Matt Rule. And again, one more time, just in case you don't believe me here, the public betting data continues to reiterate this point. Look at the spread number. 73% of the money is on Nebraska's spread, even though just 58% of the tickets. Now, the majority of the tickets are in Nebraska, 58% of them, but 73% of the money. So, although the public is on Nebraska, the sharps are even more on Nebraska. 73% of the money is on the Cornhuskers, despite just 58% of the bet. So, the public seems to agree with me here. The sharps seem to agree with me here. I like Nebraska, even though I don't love that spread point at 7.5. I do like Nebraska in this matchup. All right, guys, just 2 picks left. Our 12th pick in today's slate, we're targeting the Tennessee-NC State game. We're going with the Volunteers over 34.5 total points as a team, available on FanDuel for minus 125, DraftKings for minus 135. And I was tempted to take the spread here. I think this is a bad matchup for NC State. I think NC State's a fun team. They bring in Grayson McCall from Coastal Carolina, and they're a fun story and they're a fun team, but I do like Tennessee here. I think Tennessee rolls them here, but I like the over in their points. I just think NC State defensively, they will not be able to handle what Tennessee has coming their way. Their week 1 performance, although NC State did walk away with the win, I don't think defensively they really impressed me that much in that performance. Look at Tennessee. Now, their last 10 games, they has cashed the over in 5 of their last 10 games, but in their week 1 win, they had 69 points. Again, really weak opponent, so hard to kind of tell how that'll translate to NC State. But again, this Volunteers offense is loaded. They should be high flying in this game. And I know it's on the road at NC State. Again, I was tempted to take the spread here. I'm gonna instead of the spread take Tennessee's over in points. I think they should absolutely score at will on NC State and have their way with them really defensively. All right, guys, and again, our 13th final pick of today's slate. We're going with the Boise State-Oregon game, 10 p.m. kickoff on Saturday. We're going to Oregon. Again, following off that Tennessee pick, we're going to Oregon over 39.5 points total as a team. Available on DraftKings for -135 odds. Now, I know the data here doesn't look great on that over, but I do think this is a really, really, really solid matchup. I'm not going to risk taking the points here because Boise State, they have that running back there that could cause some problems when it comes to the spread. I'll go ahead and settle for the over in points. Now, I know Oregon did struggle in their season opener, only 24 points in that first game, but I do think they're going to go ahead and correct some things here versus Boise State at home. I think Dylan Gabriel is going to be able to get away with whatever he wants against this Boise State defense. I think it's going to be a high-scoring game for Oregon, so go ahead and give me the points here, over 39.5 points. All right, guys, so we made it. Those are all 13 picks from today's slate, this weekend slate, I should say. There are all 13 picks. I will make sure to put this link in the description as well as the pinned comment for you guys to go ahead and follow along. But all you do is click that link, and it'll take you right to this page here with all 13 picks. It's very easy to follow along thanks to Outlier. And if you guys want to go ahead and give Outlier a try, you liked all the data that you saw in today's video, I only showed you guys a little bit. There's so much more that goes into Outlier than what I showed you. We do have a special link down below in our description that gives you guys a 7-day free trial to check it out for yourself. Everything that you saw in today's video, you can have access to. And for the first 7 days, it's absolutely free. After that, $19.99 a month, which I think is a steal, especially if you're winning money using the data that Outlier provides. It basically pays for itself. So one more time, guys, link down below, 7-day free trial. Shout out to Outlier for always being a fantastic partner of Guy Boston Sports. Guys, that is it for me today. Thank you very much, as always, for watching. One more time, guys, hit that subscribe button, hit that like button, and drop a comment down below. I will be back next week with another college football picks video, but until then, I hope you're all winners, guys. Have a fantastic week. Enjoy Week 2 college football.